If you're struggling with a cold, then this video is going to help you. We'll be discussing some of the common questions that people ask, like why do I get a cold so often? How long do colds last for? And most importantly, at the end, we'll be talking about how to treat your cold naturally to make you feel better. And if you're new here, my name is Dr. Khalid Zalmay. I'm a family doctor working in London. Let's dive straight in. So a cold is a common viral infection that affects our upper respiratory airways. That's your nose, mouth, throat, sinuses, ears. Once you get an infection, it can take up to 2 days for you to show any signs and symptoms. Now, rhinovirus causes most colds, and it has nothing to do with the animal, the rhino. It's basically the Greek word rhino, meaning nose, and hence the infection is in the nose and those areas. And we don't have a vaccine for colds because there are so many different variations, then they mutate really quickly. Now, some people may be feeling that they're getting too many colds, and there are a few factors here in play. Firstly is your diet. We need a healthy, varied diet with lots of fruit and vegetables. That gives you your nutrients and your minerals, which are important for immune cell production. So the more of that you have, the better your immune system is working. We should be limiting our processed food intake and ensuring we're not having high sugars in our diet, which can affect our gut health. Again, gut health is super important in our immune cell function. And it may be useful to have a multivitamin over the counter, making sure you have vitamin D in there, B12, folate, zinc, and vitamin C and vitamin E in there. Again, these are all things that can help our immune system. Stress has also been known to affect our immune system. When we are stressed, we become more prone to infections like colds and flus and things like that. And this is normally because the stress hormones that are released in our body in response to stress can dampen our immune response. Reducing our stress levels boosts those immune factors up. Likewise, if we are sleep deprived, studies have shown that people are more likely to actually die younger, have more viral infections, and also be at risk of things like heart disease and strokes. Ensuring we get 8 hours of sleep every night is super important. And lastly, hand hygiene. As well as all those things to boost your immune system, if we keep the viruses out, it's going to be better for us. So the same kind of precautions we took during COVID times, and importantly, when you get home from being out in public transport, make sure you wash your hands with warm water and soap. Now, colds can often last 1 to 2 weeks, and on average, an adult will have about 2 to 4 colds in a year. A child will have much more, about 6 to 10. And to be fair, our little one started nursery about a year ago. I'd say the first 6 to 8 months of nursery was pretty much a cold every other week. And it's sometimes very difficult to know whether it's a new virus or the same virus lingering. So yeah, if you're a new parent and you're about to send your child to daycare, nursery, expect those first 6 months to be pretty crazy. And usually the first few days of the symptoms are the worst, and it eases with time. Now, if you've had cold-like symptoms for 5 days and things are starting to get worse, or if you had these symptoms for 3 weeks or more, then you should probably see a doctor to get checked out. Now, I'll list some of the common symptoms of a cold next to me, and they're usually as a result of inflammation in your airway tracts thanks to the virus. So you're likely to get things like a stuffy nose or a runny nose, a tickly cough, a slight sore throat, sneezing, a low-grade temperature, muscles, aches, those kind of things. You're usually contagious within the time period that you've got your symptoms, so 1 to 2 weeks. And remember, spreading the cold virus is usually through tiny air droplets if you're sneezing, coughing, those kind of things, but also through contact touch. So things you touch. If you've sneezed, wiped your nose on things, hopefully you haven't done that, and you've kind of caught it in a tissue and put it in a bin. The virus itself can usually live on these surfaces for about 24 hours. So say you go on public transport and touch a handle that somebody who had a cold 24 hours before that had touched, you can pick up that virus. Now, generally speaking, unless you're immunocompromised, our own immune systems will be able to fight off a cold, but there are things you can do along the way to help out. Unfortunately, there is no simple cures for a cold, even though those clickbaity YouTube titles that say, cure your cold in 2 minutes, click here. So yeah, it's just a lie. The most important factors are simple basics of rest and rehydration. You're resting your body because your body is using up resources to fight the infection, producing new immune cells. So if you're not resting and you're doing a 12-hour shift and you're not drinking enough water on that shift, well, your body is going to take much longer for it to fight that virus off. But if you have something like a sore throat, then mixing a little bit of warm water with some salt and then gargling it can often help soothe the pain in your throat. So can things like lozenges and menthol sweets. Warm soups and a cup of tea can also be quite soothing as well. Just make sure it's not a hot drink because that can irritate the throat more. And as we mentioned, as there's no simple cure, be wary of marketing tactics that say this is going to cure your cold. There are medications that can help your symptoms whilst your body's fighting off the cold. Firstly, if you're getting high temperatures, muscle aches, then paracetamol or ibuprofen can help with those symptoms. And remember, you can just buy the generic cheap versions of those medications over the counter. Sometimes these pesky pharmaceutical companies, what they like to do is package paracetamol with a bit of caffeine and a bit of this and a bit of that, and then call it instant cold relief or flu relief, and it's a bit of a gimmick basically. It makes you just pay 10 times the amount, and really the difference is very minimal. And if you have a stuffed blocking nose, then sometimes over-the-counter decongestions, they come in sprays or tablets, can also be useful. And if you're using them and it makes absolutely no difference, then I normally tell my patients to stop using them, mainly because any medication you put into your body has side effects. So decongestions usually make people feel more tired and sleepy. It can give people headaches. It can give them a dry mouth. It can also irritate the lining of your nose. So if it helps, fantastic, you can use it. If it doesn't, then just there's no point. So that's been a quick look at some of the common questions people have about colds. Now, if you keep getting sore throats, then click on this next video, which dives into why you might be getting them and what you can do to help. Thank you for watching. I've been Dr. Khaled. Peace out.